Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Organization 2. This is the first episode we've had of it with an official name. I'm one of the hosts, Kill. I have with us the wonderful Narchitect and our other co-host, Sando, with us as well. So, I'm a content creator over on Mixer. We're not going to be doing podcasts live that I know of. But if you guys want to come check me out, it's mixer.com/killohms, as in KILOHMS. Anyway, that all being said, I'm going to push it over to our guest today so he can introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Narchitect. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Narchitect. That is GNAR, Ictect.
Spelling is hard,
is
right?
A little weird.
Yeah.
ICTECTH?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
I'll make sure there's a link in both
we'll
the Anchor and in the YouTube.
I don't normally spell my handle out.
No, I don't usually.
Very weird.
I don't normally spell it. I get to Narca, and then it puts me where I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
that just sets the pace for my.
Oh, it's gonna be good tonight. It's gonna be good. All right, so go ahead, Sando.
And yeah, then there's just me. I'm Sando. I don't have any important things to hand out to people.
He has a Twitter, guys. Go follow his Twitter.
It's
at Sando152.
Yeah, it's 152. That's what it is. Because Sando15 didn't exist.
No, it was taken.
Oh,
yeah.
Shish, yeah. that still works, right?
So, as we talked about on our last episode, Sando and I talked about our first experiences with Kingdom Hearts, and then we moved on to theory crafting, basically, for the entire rest of the podcast, inadvertently.
Without us realizing.
Well, yeah, it just kind of happened, and the next thing we knew, an hour and a half went by. So what I'd like to do in this first couple minutes is find out from Gnar where he first started with Kingdom Hearts, when he first started, and maybe a couple of favorite moments.
Okay, so from what I remember, I've always been a big Disney guy. Like, you know, growing up, I'm sure most of us, like, 90s kids,
oh, yeah.
we're all in Disney.
Who's not?
But, oddly enough, growing up with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, you guys remember the, now I'm blanking on it, what is it called? There was the Disney, it was a playoff of the Pro Skater games, but it was a Disney game.
I know what you're talking about.
You know, this sounds like a great way to have people be involved, and comment below if you know what it is.
I absolutely, but it's absolutely killing me.
Oh, you'll forget it.
Say.
You'll forget it.
Anyways, regardless, one of the employees at Blockbuster, because it was a rental game. My parents used to take me to Blockbuster all the time, and that's basically what my games were. I mean, I had games that I owned, but I used to go to Blockbuster weekly. My brother and I would go pick out games. And one of the employees there, because I had
Disney's Extreme Skate
Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure was...
Yep.
That was the game.
I looked it up for us, so that's what it is.
Oh my goodness, thank you. That's
what I got you.
That was absolutely killing me. Regardless, one of the employees there had recommended Kingdom Hearts to me. And because he had actually seen me in there, we lived across the street. I'd gone in for Disney Skate Adventure all the time, and regardless, I picked up Kingdom Hearts 2, and
beautiful game.
And it was before I played Kingdom Hearts 1. Oh, yeah. I didn't,
just to throw in a slight aside to your story. It's funny enough, that was my first game too. Kingdom Hearts 2 is my first introduction into the series, so it's not estranged. And the ones that actually weren't, 90s kids at the table, they don't understand what it's like to start with a game 2 and then go back to game 1.
Right. I mean, you can start with any. You can start with any of those games and be confused.
Yeah, you start 1, you're confused.
Right?
You start 2, you're confused. There's no winning.
I mean, long story short, I played the game. I played through it. Vanilla. Got through the game. Didn't do too much grinding. I'm pretty sure I played it on normal the first time, and then got really like I was explaining to you earlier. I got really into the gummy ships, and I got really into those missions.
Low-key gummy ships is where it's at.
But this is before you go on YouTube and you look at
Donuts.
Donuts. you would look at, for any game, you go on YouTube and be like, all right, what's the best way? What's the best cheese for this? What's the best way of doing this?
We look at. I mean, Sando and I look at that for our data fights now. Like, that doesn't mean we can do them perfectly, but when we're streaming data fights every Saturday at mixer.com/killohms,
Cross promo.
plug. When we do that, like, we look over the videos, we look over how the speedrunners do it, because we get ideas for strats and, finding out how we can actually do it in about 45 minutes to an hour for each data fight, so it's actually entertaining and not just us dying for 3 hours a night.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of things that I've learned in like the past year and a half from Kingdom Hearts and any of the Kingdom Hearts games is from watching speedrunners.
Yeah.
Because that community is insane.
And I even tried to learn speedrunning it myself, and so I'll play with a good buddy, and we'll go and we'll play. We were playing together, we did a co-stream of it over on Mixer, and we were... I keep accidentally plugging things. I'm so sorry.
Oh no! Come on, it's okay.
my podcast.
It's
I'm
all right.
allowed
It's
to.
your podcast.
So we're playing stuff over there with that wonderful co-stream feature that Mixer has.
Oh, that
And
one.
then we're sitting there, and I'm busting through the story through Tutorial Town, and he's like, "Dude, I'm not even halfway done yet." I was like, "Yeah, I kind of used to try to speedrun this." He goes, "I was like, I'm sorry. I know I'm probably going too quick." He goes, No. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you keep speedrunning it because I want to keep up with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so it was really cool because, I mean, I'm not a good speedrunner of that game, but I'm still at about 6 to 7 hours to get through the entire game for Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, but especially a game that you've played plenty of times.
So good.
You've played plenty of times on your own and not broken down. You know what I mean? And if you watch a speedrunner of it, you learn so much about the things that you thought you knew.
Boss fights.
It's
in
insane.
General. It's great.
Absolutely insane. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Taking advantage of the abilities that you have in that game and breaking those is incredible.
All right. So to pull it back from the rabbit hole, because I started it.
I could, yeah. It's fun.
So you were saying, so the gummy ships are what really pulled you into the series?
I wouldn't say it was what pulled me into it. Now, okay. I mentioned earlier that I got into gummy ships.
Yeah,
I think
started
really
to be
what it
grind.
was is that... See, I could go into backgrounds on why I did, and I went into the Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
I'm going to tell you right now, we're at 8 minutes of an hour and a half.
I know,
like,
I absolutely could.
You can take your time.
I'll at least hint on it. I played about 10 years of RuneScape. One could say that I enjoy the grind. Yeah. Now I'm not saying that gummy ships were a grind in itself.
No, they are. They are because
sort of are.
Getting the ratings. Like, I mean, Asando and I will sit there and I'll be doing while he's taking a break, trying to clear his head again during crit fights. I'll sit and I'll do gummy fights. I'll do the gummy missions.
Right.
And so I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, hey, by the way, did you know you can get like I think, what did I say? It was an S plus or an S double plus one time?
Yeah. It was
and he's like, no, that's not.
Cage too?
Yeah. He's like, no, there's no such thing as S double plus. And I went, want to bet? And he's like, yeah. And I show him, I go, right here. He goes, that's probably because of that one type of mission I went and I did another one. He goes, okay, so there is. I'm sorry, you have proven me wrong.
Well, I can understand what you mean with like comparing it sort of with a RuneScape, where you do grinding here and there differently, but it's the same thing, but it has a different feel to it, even though it's the same thing.
Well, and I mean,
it does.
If we're gonna take RuneScape into it, like, I mean, I don't know how many times when I was in high school that I spent like 2 or 3 hours chopping wood.
That's
like low interactive, but you could do it. I mean, that's what I'm so pulled to, like the game Idle Heroes on my phone. I love that because it's an easy game. I can let it sit and go and come back to it whenever I want. Grind a little bit on my own, and then it goes for 8 hours on its own.
Right. I guess you could say I'm a completionist. So when it comes to games,
yep.
I'd say maybe a little bit less nowadays, being having the free time that I have, and let's just say mental free time. I mean, I have the free time, but the mental free time's a little different.
Well, growing up and being an adult,
you just want your mindless free time.
And that's why I force it for stream once a week.
Yeah,
I try to.
Right.
I mean, there's times where Sando and I can't do it, or people don't come out, so we switch games or something like that. But
Right.
we try to push for that every single week because it's our favorite series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's our favorite
Same.
series, like
Same.
try to finish this stuff up, which of course why we wanted to have you on here and being.
Right. And
being up here visiting you, because for those that don't know, we're recording this while we're up in Ohio. It happens to work out perfectly that we can actually get a good side-by-side interview and actually have great audio versus having to deal with like Discord.
Yeah, and we had a nice time to sit down and actually record
Exactly.
this. This actually is a good opportunity for me to say I have actually only cleared, as I will say,
And at this time,
my favorite series is Kingdom Hearts. However, I have only cleared Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 at this time. I do have, 2.8 and 1.5, 2.5 Final Remix on PS4.
all right. So
However-
get the bully stick.
However, this is an opportunity to be with some close friends and learn a bit.
Yeah,
And I may speak out of ignorance at sometimes, but
well,
that's
and
just
that's
not
the
me.
goal of today. We've got about the next hour to sit around, talk, and not only do Sando and I have the chance to educate you
Right.
on the stuff that you haven't seen yet or haven't played, but
Education.
I also think it's a great thing because there's so many people I know that have played 1 and 2 and love the series, but they don't play the other games because they're and I use air quotes side games, which
Yeah.
I could get off on a tangent on that alone, and that's not what today's for. It's not what this
Of
episode's
course
for.
not. No. And I'm
but
a bit more open to that.
Yeah,
I'm a bit
it's-
more open to that.
you can read all this stuff. You can see a complete story video. I just don't think it does justice
No.
to the 8 games in the series.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's 8 games in the series with only 2 flops. Like Assassin's Creed has 4. If we're gonna throw it out there, I mean,
Yeah.
they have a game series that's very well made and very well orchestrated.
Right.
With exceptions to Chain of Memories, Coded. Those are the 2 generally most hated games, but 2 out of 8 to 10 games, that's spectacular.
But even then, even those 2 games have a
Fantastic
microscopic
story.
place in this story.
Well, and
They do.
their story. The thing is, I have never had one Kingdom Hearts game, and I said this on the last podcast. There is not a single Kingdom Hearts game that I do not enjoy the story of.
And that's good. That
Gameplay
means
is a
the
different
writers at least did their job in a
Oh,
sense.
exactly.
Oh yeah.
Maybe in the mechanics of the fights.
If you want to throw card games on motorcycles, you might have a better job. Yu-Gi-Oh worked out really well.
Dang it, I was gonna say Yu-Gi-Oh.
They worked out
Hey,
a lot
don't
better.
bash Yu-Gi-Oh.
I said they worked better.
Okay, good.
Look, we've got
I'm
card
just
games
clarifying.
with card
Clarifying.
games with giant keys.
You want to go that
or
way?
card
I
games
used to
with
have.
motorcycles.
I used to have that
I s-
arm thing. Man.
I have my original dual disc from Battle
Really?
City.
Do you? High five. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I got it. It's
I can't-
wonderful.
I used to beat up on kids in the neighborhood, man.
Right?
When I
Send
was
them to the
younger,
Shadow Realm.
Get off.
Okay, so did I, but I actually physically beat them with the disc. Did you? That's why I don't have mine anymore.
And this
Dude,
is
I
why
would-
we don't talk about the
I
past
would
of
always-
Sando.
I was kind of mean. I would
Oh god.
when I was younger, and I know we're going on a tangent, but when I was younger, I
That's
used
fine.
to kind of rig Final a little bit.
All right,
No.
so
I was mean, all right.
Low-
I was
low
mean,
key.
and I shouldn't have done that.
Low-key,
but I had a really good.
I
day.
really
Like, outside of that, I had a really good day.
I
Sorry,
ticked
go
off.
ahead.
I ticked off my roommate in college. Right?
Did you?
Yeah, we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh one time, and this is again side tangent, but we've got a little bit of time. Totally sat there and just was like, yeah. So Thousand Eyes Restrict, fusioned it in. May or may not have made sure when I shuffled Polymerization and a couple of other cards stuck together. Sorry, Taylor, if you ever see
yikes.
this. And he was so upset. He's like, I attack. I was like, well, you'll kill your monster. He's like, and then you lose the life points for it.
Yeah.
Because that's how the card reads. And he goes, oh. And he's like, well, then you'll just have to attack me. I was like, well, the other thing is if you read the card, technically he can't attack, and I can use his ability once per turn. So if he puts something stronger out on the field, I can take it. and swap it out. And it's a dirty card.
Man,
it's so dirty. That's why it's banned.
Yu-Gi-Oh was the game though.
It was.
And
it was a good game.
Then there was just me with troll decks, where all I would do would make trap decks.
Trap.
It's like,
yeah,
hey, I'm gonna play this.
Final was,
nah,
man.
you're gone, buddy.
Yeah, it was so good.
It would be traps and tunes because everyone hated tunes, but I
Yeah.
loved
And
it.
so we sat down. We actually got one of the Yu-Gi-Oh sim games for the PC. I can't remember which one it was. Yu-Gi-Oh! It's still on my computer.
Yeah.
I don't care. That's not a big deal. And we would play that. Actually, we tried making a video for it for the channel at one point in time, but I guess it just wasn't. It didn't get the traction, and that's fine. I wasn't really worried about it.
Yeah.
But we tried it out. We had fun. It was good. But anyway, so we're hitting about the 16th minute. 16th.
Yeah, we're
mark.
still
Yeah. Okay.
We're still fine.
Yes, but today's question is going to be, I think it's going to be
Lengthy.
a longevity question right there. So, the episode for today is which faction is the best faction. Now, by faction, I mean enemy types. If you don't know, or you're new to the game, or you've only played 1 and 2, you've only ever encountered two of those enemy types. You've encountered Heartless and Nobodies. So everybody should be very familiar with those if they're interested in this podcast. And they're KH fan. If you're interested in the podcast for learning about KH, we'll talk about them a little bit.
Right.
We don't want to shut anybody out. Now,
mind you, he just pointed towards me, but
I'm looking around the table. I have 2 people to look at. I'm so sorry.
He pointed at you.
Here, let's get a picture of somebody that I know knows nothing. Can I get a picture of Shay here? You know.
oh god.
Oh, she's not a Kingdom Hearts fan though. It's
I mean,
okay.
you can just look at me
that's
anyways.
perfectly
Yeah, you're
acceptable.
right. I'll just look at the Christmas tree. So and then
He does have a hat.
I know, right? And it is Shay's, so it works.
No, that's my hat.
The tree is.
The tree is Shay's.
Yeah,
You're
that's
correct.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so Birth by Sleep introduced the Unversed, which we will also talk about. Sando and I will pass them back and forth. I'll let him talk about Heartless and Nobodies with interjecting, and then I'll talk about Unversed and Dream Eaters, which Dream Eaters came from
Totally take it.
Dream Drop Distance, but in all honesty, I don't know. We'll get into it.
Something completely unbeknownst to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we have to explain not only for possible viewers at home, but also for Kyle.
Yes.
So, Gnar.
Narkyle.
Narkyle.
You'll hear both.
He's the Narkle.
Narkle.
And so... Narkle, dude!
We'll call me Nar. If you guys hear Kyle throughout the stream, it'll be
That's how it goes. So... Go ahead, start off with Heartless, I guess. And I'll interject a little bit here and there.
So with Heartless, Heartless has appeared in KH1 and it appears in all the KH games.
Except for Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance.
Yes. And the Heartless comes from anyone who had, anyone that is...
Their heart was consumed by the darkness.
Yes.
Which the darkness is the entity... It's the general entity in every bad game.
And
Okay.
in which if there is light, then there is darkness and vice versa.
right.
As long as someone is good or has...
As long as there is a wielder of light, there has to be a wielder of darkness as well.
Which...
Correct.
It has to balance out. Now, that doesn't mean that a wielder is evil.
This is true.
Because Sora's light is balanced out by Riku's darkness, in my opinion.
I think that's
because
pretty good.
It's very good there.
Yeah.
As well as if you really want to look at it, Mickey has had some hit with the darkness because he had to get Kingdom Key D in 0.2. And Kingdom Key D is the reverse of the Kingdom Key. So it has the gold blade and the purple, and not the purple, the silver handle.
Silver
Sorry,
handle.
wow,
That's
color
okay.
dyslexia, I guess. That's going to be a new thing.
That is okay.
It's not a thing, but we're going to go with it.
So I'm saying it's not okay.
Yeah.
I've had that conversation with
Yeah,
him.
we've had this conversation. So, and so him getting that would imply that he has had some realm of touching by the darkness because he had to go there to get it.
Yes.
I've always wondered that too, and I'm really glad that
He-
you said
he got it in
I really have
0.2.
always wondered about that keyblade.
Yeah, he got it in 0.2, and it is technically the Kingdom Key.
Kingdom Key. Okay.
I can't remember what the Kingdom Key, what the D stood for, because it's a abbreviation.
It's not darkness.
No, but it's basically implied to be that.
Yeah.
But it's the inverse of the Kingdom Key. It is so that way he could lock the door to the realm of darkness from the other side. Mm-hmm. He could lock it from that side because you needed the Kingdom Key D to do it that way, and you needed the Kingdom Key to lock
the light
together. It was from the realm of the normal realm.
Yeah.
So, but that's why Mickey uses that instead of like the Star Seeker, which is what he used to use. He used that in Birth by Sleep. Yeah. But back to Heartless, they first were really found out by Ansem the Wise, or Diz, through his experiments and whatnot with the heart, and he kind of refound them. Now they had been extinct to our realm, to our timeline, going with the fact that KHUX, the mobile game, is actually in a different timeline, which is major spoiler for you. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, don't worry. That is okay.
Because of that being a different timeline, our Heartless got wiped out during our Keyblade War, which happened thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they didn't come back until Ansem the Wise had kind of started tinkering with the idea of the heart, which is really just the soul. At least how I perceive it in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
I would say it's more of the soul. Like, you're not losing your physical heart. It is your soul that has been turned into a physical construct.
Yeah.
So, that's basically Heartless. Sorry to just, like, steal the explanation from you.
I mean,
I know...
honestly, yeah, if you got information, go for
Yeah.
it.
You explain it way better than I do.
That's perfectly fine.
So, Nobodies, go ahead. I'll let you start, and I'll pick up what you missed again, right?
I'll say a couple words, and you'll take over.
I want you to feel like you're still a part of this podcast.
I mean, I am. Somewhat.
I would love to sit here and feel like I'm learning, and I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of that.
Good. I'm glad. I will keep it that way.
Fantastic. You guys keep doing you.
Nobodies, which appeared in KH2 and only KH2. What?
Days. Technically.
Days as well?
Okay, so technically
Days. In Days and 2. And we're leaving out 3 for anybody in the future past January 29th.
Yeah.
Like, don't get mad at us, because 3 of the types of the factions are going to appear in the game.
Possibly 4.
Possibly 4. We might see Dream Eaters, I just doubt it.
Right. But mostly 2 and firstly 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they
appeared
appeared firstly 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First and 2, but they... Technically, because the organization is Nobodies, they appeared in Days. I also think we did see a couple of Dusks running around, but I can't remember fully. I haven't looked at that game in a long time.
But most importantly,
the organization.
The organization making their appearance in 2 was a huge...
Yes.
And after we let you finish explaining Nobodies, I do want to go into why the organization is... different.
Yes, absolutely.
I do want to go into that.
Honestly, even going into Xehanort and just
that's a different tale for a different day. You're gonna have to subscribe to the podcast for that one, because I don't have enough. I don't know that an hour and a half is going to be enough time on mine. I have to make it a 2-part episode.
Oh my goodness, Xehanort. Okay.
So with Nobodies, there are what I would say, the human characteristics of Nobodies, which would be the organization. And then there are...
And a little bit with the Dusks.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the Dusks, or just the regular enemies, are all...
They're the shadow level.
Yeah. They are the Dusks, all the assassins, whatever they're all called. Mm-hmm. Each organization member essentially has a control over... Say you have
a different group of them.
You have the organization member that gambles. He controls the
gamblers.
The gamblers. Yeah, I was going to say the gamblers. Yeah.
And Zigbar, who's a sniper, he controls the snipers.
The snipers.
Do you remember the annoying ones that do all the spells?
I do absolutely.
You remember those ones?
Yes, I do.
The ones that do all the spells and stuff.
And it's funny because I actually started to realize that going through KH2 a few times after the first time. Yeah. I started to realize
Zexion controls those ones.
Yes,
the sorcerers. Which are the annoying ones that'll put the squares around you?
Yeah.
Those guys.
I started to realize a reference to the organization members.
The sad part is, berserkers. Okay, they fit Syx.
Oh man, they do.
But there is no fire type.
For
and so
what,
for Axel, but it's basically the assassins are Axels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth, and we can
Interesting,
we could do an episode on the organization as well,
Or just enemy types.
or enemy types in general. Well, probably have to break it up as into talk about Heartless
Axel
specifically,
seems
and then
a
talk
little-
about.
He just always seemed a little different.
Oh, he
You know,
wasn't.
There's
The
a
reason
lot of
he
reasons.
always
know-
seemed different is because of Roxas.
Is because he
It's because
started
he had to
seeing
train-
light. He started
Yes.
really seeing light
And
throughout.
we can
through
definitely
Roxas.
get into the wonderful
And that's-
part of Roxas
We
basically
could start seeing
being the
love
only
for
nobody.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
I will
really
say,
what it
and here's a
was.
thought for later. Boop.
That was beautiful.
Roxas is the only nobody to have ever had a heart.
This is true.
Because of Ventus. Because of Ventus's heart being a part of Sora's
That
during
makes
that
a lot
time,
of sense.
Roxas was the only one to have a heart, therefore giving the possibility, or dare I say, the birth to a heart in Axel, who was his best friend, along with Xion, but Xion gets messy. Really,
Yeah.
really messy.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's messy. Anyway, so and that's basically the nobodies. They're the empty husks left over, and I think this was a continuity problem that they didn't address in one because they couldn't have. And I talked about it in the first episode, but because you see the guy come back from being a heartless when Sora hits him and like releases the darkness or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
I almost think that, well, and I thought of a way it could work. The nobody disappears and the body reappears there. But the nobody is basically the husk of the human while the darkness grows around their heart.
Yeah, and
And
that's
gives
how,
shape
that's
to
how
that.
I've always viewed
Yeah.
the nobodies.
And that's basically what they are when it comes down to it. Now, they can have different forms and stuff like that, or be molded into different forms, I think, from husks. They start out as a husk, but they can turn into anything.
It's like nobody's form, from what I understand, it's like nobody's form from one who has a heartless.
Mm-hmm.
One who has a heartless has a nobody as well,
Yes.
and it's just that husk. It's that
But
skin.
only
You know
those
what I
with
mean?
strong enough hearts create personified nobodies.
Okay. Yes.
Which is how Lee, Issa,
Yeah.
Ansem,
Oh,
well,
maybe.
Terranort, because it was Terra's body at the time.
I've always loved Lee. Like I
He's
don't know
wonderful.
why. I've just always had
Everybody loves him.
everybody loves
Everybody
Axel.
loves
like
Axel.
everybody loves Axel.
He's just good like that.
Because you got it memorized. That's why.
You got to memorize.
Jeez. Oh man,
and so
just the scenes. They're so good.
now we get into the fun ones.
I'll let you
So,
handle these because
we'll do the easier one of the two first. Dream Eaters.
I'll let you guys
Basically,
take these ones. Yeah.
Dream Eaters,
All you.
they appear in Dream Drop Distance, possibly 3. We have no idea. We have not seen any evidence of them in any of the trailers. Not yet.
Okay.
Sadly. So, I say sadly just for the fact of, like, it'd be cool to see all 4 of the enemy types be shown.
Yeah, yeah.
But as they have not been shown yet, they do exist. Just grab it. We're eating food, by the way, guys. Just in case you hear any any Kringles or smacking
slam
of
of a
things.
laptop in the mic.
No, that's how it
also a thing.
works.
That's
Anyway, it makes it exciting.
Ooh.
So, Dream Eaters, they're basically they eat good dream. Well, there's nightmares and there's Dream Eaters. There's the two of them. The nightmares are the evil ones that create your nightmares and stuff like that. All that fun stuff, all that funny hoopla. That we in American culture as well as in other world cultures have ideas of where nightmares come from the bad juju, right? You know.
Correct.
Native Americans used dream catchers to catch all the evil spirits and stuff like that, trying to act in people's dreams.
Yeah.
And so you can see this throughout. So nightmares are that bad juju, basically, and they've been personified in the dream world, which I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
And dream eaters eat nightmares, which is weird, but they eat nightmares to help protect people. So basically, if there's somebody like Sora went into the dream world, basically he's in a lucid dream. That's what Dream Drop Distance. They're both in lucid dreams. In these parallel worlds, because they're both dreaming at the same time. They started dreaming at the same time, so their dream worlds are parallel.
Oh, that is.
So what affects in one can affect in the other.
Yeah.
which is
Real
basically
world
how
conversation can go into.
yeah, which it
continue.
gets messy.
Ooh boy.
It gets really messy. And so basically because of how they are, and there's other people who live in there, like oh my gosh, what is the game? The World Ends With You.
The World Ends With You.
Those characters exist in this universe in the dream realm.
Okay.
And it makes sense because of the game.
Yeah.
I haven't played enough of the game to like go on to an in-depth of it, but it makes sense from what I know. And so is it this world ends with you or that world ends with you?
The world.
The world? Okay, the world. So I keep
Look it up.
forgetting. I think it is the world ends with you. We'll be corrected here one way or another in a second.
That's fine.
But the world ends with you
The way I'm checking is not a good way to check.
is basically
I'm going to the mobile game.
yeah, that's not the best way to go with it. They did a remake for that game for Switch, by the way. I need to buy it.
Yeah.
What? UX?
No, the world ends with you.
Oh, jeez.
They did a remake because it came out originally on DS. No.
I'm gonna say no. It's
okay.
fine. It's okay.
It originally came out on DS. So
Gotcha.
and so that world is the dream realm. It's where, all the sleeping of these people happen, where all the bad can happen, and the nightmares basically can affect if somebody becomes a heartless because they're affecting them in a negative way, creating the negative emotions for the darkness to seep in. And I do agree that I think, I'm making up my agreeing with myself on this, that the darkness has such a hit on all of these different factions in general. Without Heartless, there couldn't be Nobodies.
Yes.
Without the darkness, there couldn't be the Unversed, which we'll get into next. And I also think that there wouldn't, without the darkness, without that negative emotion, there wouldn't be nightmares. Which is why there also has to be Dream Eaters, because as we said, if there's a light, there has to be a darkness. If there's darkness, there has to be a light to counteract it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the balance gets thrown off, and Ragnarok basically happens. Now, the Unversed come from Vanitas.
Also, let me interject. It was The World Ends With You.
The world ends with you. Awesome. Good to know. So, major spoiler for Birth by Sleep. Vanitas, dude with the funny helmet,
Oh, I know. I know
he creates
exactly
all
who
of
he
them.
is.
They all come from him. Every Unversed has come from him. Because his
Wonderful.
heart is pure darkness.
Yeah.
So, him and Ventus
That
used
is
to
what
share
I've
a heart.
gathered. Yeah.
Well,
that
him
is-
and Ventus shared a heart. It's funny because he looks like Sora.
I believe. No,
Yep.
I've
Yeah.
seen photos. I've seen more than probably you think. Yeah.
Yeah. So they used to have a single heart that was balanced in light and darkness. Well, Xehanort wanted to create the Keyblade, so he had to remove all the purity out of Ventus's heart and create just a vessel of darkness.
Yeah.
When that happened, he shattered Ventus's heart, fracturing it, and thus Sora helped give part of his heart at the time, or the general lightness gave the light that would be soon to be found in Sora, because the timeline's messy. I think he was alive, but he would have been like 3. Either way. Yeah, he would have been 3 or 4, because the Ventus's heart kind of snapped before he was 4. Sora was 4 at the beginning of Birth by Sleep. And so Vanitas, however you want to say his name, is just oozing darkness, basically, because he's all the darkness from that heart. And now those two need to clash to create the Keyblade, which is the Greek letter key that looks like an X.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly. What it is.
And so the Keyblade is created when a strong light and a strong darkness smash together, creating the original Keyblade. It's what the Keyblade was formed
Which
off of.
was it that Keyblade combined?
Yep, it's the one that has the two kingdom keys next to each other, and they hold the two yellow parts as the handles. Yes, that is the Keyblade. And it was
Fantastic.
the original blade that our Keyblade, Key, not CHI. Yeah, it's CHI.
CHI.
CHI
I knew that
yeah.
was the original. Yeah. Okay.
So the Keyblade,
Basically,
KEY, was based
Latin.
off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Or-
It's
Greek.
Yeah, it's Greek.
Not Latin. Sorry.
So-
Forgive me.
Just so
I meant to say Greek.
so now we
Forgive me.
all have a basic idea of what these factions are, and I'm sorry if we missed any details or didn't explain them perfectly. The question of the day is, as we go back to it, is which faction is the best? Now, of course,
Best or favorite?
Put it this way: which would you prefer to be a part of? I guess.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I want to look at the positives or negatives. I'm hoping we have some different answers. I don't think we will be that far off from each other. Which will be interesting. But I do want to get an idea of what you guys are, and I'll probably throw in some devil advocate stuff as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, of course, since you are our guest, I think it only fitting that you go first and jump on the chopping block.
So as I still have a lot to learn about this entire universe that is Kingdom Hearts, I would say from the start, and I was explaining this to Kill and Sendo earlier, I actually, as much as I actually have a love for Sora himself, I actually found a connection to Roxas from the start, playing Kingdom Hearts 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was a skater boy.
And you know what? And I said, "See you later, boy." And I was like, you know what? I can connect with that.
Yeah. He was good enough for me. Which is not how it works,
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. No, I think it was his... I really think it was his personality. And I'm gonna get a... everybody has their reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their reasons. However, I know not all nobodies are like Roxas, but I would find myself a nobody, to be honest with you. I would find myself a nobody. I'm actually, and if you don't mind, I'm going to be cosplaying Sora for a con coming up.
Oh, go right ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's cool.
I have no problem with anything that gets said. Like
any plugs or anything.
Any plugs, because I'm gonna have your stuff in the descriptions. I want you to be able to be seen. I think you're taking the time to be on this with us. You deserve to have the recognition that I can give you.
I appreciate that.
Because I'm
really
not paying you.
No.
I can pay
but it's fine.
I can
it's
pay you
fine.
in Trident layers.
Yeah.
You
can pay me in hugs.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was gonna go take money out of his Jeep and just to throw quarters at you.
Sweet.
You have to get into my Jeep first.
Fair point.
Watching
my keys tonight.
So you need that for road trips? Oh, yikes. Okay. Well, I got a bunch of keys. Well, I got a keyboard up there. You can probably use that too.
Walloping,
Yeah, walloping.
That's got a W.
All right, so...
Anyways, to be honest with you, I may not have a perfect explanation as to why. Because, as I said earlier, boy may be a little ignorant to said story. However, I always found myself a bit attached to the nobodies. And playing through Kingdom Hearts 2, knowing what I know about knowing what I know about the nobodies, I feel like I always sympathize with them. Mm-hmm. Knowing that they kind of just exist between this light and darkness.
Yeah,
and they don't really have
too sheer luck.
They don't have too much choice in that.
No.
And I think I've always sympathized
and
with
they get manipulated the entire way, too.
They do. They absolutely do. And
Which
I feel like
I
felt the same way about Roxas, especially from the beginning. He was so just ignorant to his existence.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was blissful at the beginning.
He
was extremely blissful.
If you look back into Days...
He was so happy with his friends.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Even before that, if you look back into Days, once he learned what was going on... He was as happy as anybody to go ahead and do exactly what the organization wanted him to do.
Painter! Pence! Oh
man.
My goodness. Right. I know! Does that not bring some feels to you?
I have two feels. One, ow. And two, I hate that struggle fight so much.
Oh my gosh, that
struggle fight.
We
Oh
fight
my
BB.
goodness.
It's so
What's his
bad.
name again? No,
Sizer or
no,
Setzer?
Sizer. Yeah, that's what it
there's
was.
Setzer and Sizer.
Sizer, yeah.
Yeah.
Sizer's the one you want to lose against, so that way you can get the bonus medal to give you a +1 to strength for the rest of the game. Speedrunning technique right there, if you guys want to know, because you can lose that fight optionally.
You can. Yes.
And you actually get more bonuses by losing
Correct.
than winning.
Yes.
Yep.
That I do know.
Oh man.
But
All right.
yeah, I think
Going
I
with the
had
nobodies.
a pretty strong connection with Roxas
fine.
for the longest time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So what about
Go
you,
ahead,
Sando?
Sando.
So I'm kind of on the fence, honestly. I agree with
Beautiful.
what you.
I love that you're on the fence. That means we can have more discussion.
Yeah, let's do
I
this.
agree with nobodies because I also kind of sympathize and fit in with a
I
couple.
almost kind of wonder who doesn't.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
I'm very heavily light as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
Well, and we can't go
So
with
I-
heroes. We can't go with the light side. Like, we can't talk about the heroes as our factions.
exactly.
I feel like
That's
heroes
my
suck.
point.
Let's talk
Well,
about
yeah,
the villains.
exactly.
That's my
Exactly. Well, I just think it's. I mean, if everybody had a choice, who wouldn't want to be? Who wouldn't want to be Ventus or Sora or Riku?
Right.
You know, like.
I'm okay with being on the dark side.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, and I get that, but I mean, like, majority-wise, most people want to side with the light. You
Yeah.
know, and I mean, there's people on the dark side. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'd love to. I would side with Axel.
I mean,
I
but,
would.
hey, but we talked about this.
We did.
You know, he's dark, but
He's dark.
He has light. He has a lot of light in him.
There's a lot you
He
don't
does.
know though,
This is
because
very
if you don't
true.
remember from, you might not remember from Chain of Memories. He had to kill four. He had to basically set it up so Sora would kill 4 or 5 people from the
It
organization.
just sucks, man.
I
It
know.
sucks.
4 people, because there's 4 absent silhouettes that you fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 to unlock them as data fights.
Now, also keep in mind, I have played Chain of Memories, but it has been probably
Well,
a decade.
and that gets
since
overlooked.
it came out.
The motivations get overlooked, and if you haven't played Days, which
And
I,
then-
don't believe you have.
No, and I haven't. And even then, I didn't really. I
Yeah.
wasn't mature enough to understand the story. So
Exactly.
Continue.
And with
Yeah,
Days,
continue.
the thing that was there is you saw all the background motivations that were going on. You saw that Axel was being ordered by Syax, by Xemnas, to go and kill Larxene, to go and kill Marluxia, to go and kill Laxius and Zexion. And they were all killed by Sora because of how Axel manipulated it. Axel,
Holy.
before he started, and he started to want to defect when he got told to do these orders because he had met Roxas.
Yep.
Before he had met Roxas, he would have done it without any hesitation.
Yeah.
And so there is light behind him now. I mean, so much so that his heart was touched by Roxas's, which is also touched by Sora's because Sora's heart is a whore, and thus gave him the ability to wield a Keyblade. I know it's hard to follow, but basically understand that I can't use that analogy. Never mind.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much common knowledge,
It's common knowledge.
Yeah.
Sora's open.
and we'd love to hear anything anybody has to say about this.
Oh yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I'd love to
anything
sit
we
down and
said
have an
today.
argument about how Sora's heart isn't one. Because I don't think there's a reasonable argument for that.
No.
It's not.
No.
He lets everybody in and gives a piece of himself away at any moment he can.
But he's that antagonist.
He's that protagonist.
He's that
Protagonist.
protagonist.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what I
So-
meant to say, yeah.
So where I understand, I just want to make it clear with what I was saying. Like I know I cut Sando off, but I just wanted to
Fun.
make it very
Once
clear. We're not looking at all the time light side as a faction right now, because the general population, I would easily say probably 60% of the community
Yeah.
would choose light side. If I'm going to take our statistics here as a small chunk to look at, 3's not enough, but
Right.
that 67% would choose light side.
Yeah.
And I think that's because there's a lot of great characters from the light side, and we have an idea of being on the light side from the mobile game with Union Cross. So I think, which is why I just want to make it very clear right now, we're cutting those. Like, we're not talking as being wielders of light.
We're not talking about light or darkness specifically.
We're talking about the factions of
'Cause,
enemies.
You know, if I
What
were
would you
to,
choose?
if I were to choose. Now, that's also another question we can ask. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel
would
like
you choose
most
light
of
side
us
or
would
dark
you
side,
choose
yeah.
light or dark. I mean, I feel like I'm not going to speak for everybody at this table,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like most of us would just choose light, because I feel like I know you guys well enough. However,
No, I can
have
tell
an
you right
answer
now.
for you.
I can tell you right now. You would choose. You would choose light.
I would choose light.
I would choose
absolutely
light. Sando would choose darkness.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Alright,
That's
fantastic.
very much how
That's
it would
fine.
work.
Satanist.
And that's fine with that's completely,
I'm just kidding.
that's completely fine and understandable. And we're not trying to downplay anybody that wants to choose that side by that means. Like I don't want you guys to think that like you're all
Absolutely
happy to your
not.
wonderful
No,
theory
my
crafts and
goodness.
everything. We entice theory craft.
Absolutely. 100%.
But as we sit here, it's more of one of those things of I wanted to just make sure that we're abundantly clear. We're talking about enemy factions.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm sorry that I interrupted you for like the 14th time. There'll probably be 14 more.
Okay, good, because I'm going to stop
I look
counting
forward
after
to it.
15.
Okay, good.
Because Rob can count that.
Did you say because Rob can't count that high? Well, now we just have to throw AJ under the bus and we're doing good for the day.
No, but for faction-wise, I'm kind of on the fence between Nobodies and Heartless.
Ooh.
Nobodies, because, of course, you've got the humanoid or the more personality-wise, and the empty husks. They just follow commands. They do whatever they're told to. So at times, I feel like I'm just following that train. It's like someone tells me to do something, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. But other times, I feel like even though you're a nobody, you have a chance of standing out, and that to me is what the organization is. Even though they say they stand out, whether it be through good ways or bad ways, they're still standing out and trying to fight it in one way or another. Axel just fights it a lot more.
Right.
You see
And
very
he has a
actively with Axel fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He has a bit
Roxas
more of a
was very...
connection. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Him specifically. We went over this
Well,
earlier. He does.
And even just like...
I mean, even for Sai,
Yeah.
who is close friends with Axel, he fights it, but in a very different way.
Yeah, he fights it in conformity, where Axel fights it in anarchy.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, speaking of nobodies, you were saying that they have a bit more connection, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Namine as well.
Oh, yeah.
Namine
Honestly,
with
forget
Kyrie
about
has, like,
Namine a lot.
Not-
huge connection.
Well, not to mention, I mean, if you really want to throw it out there, and we're looking at, and this could be a whole nother video.
It's a
on
big,
another
it's a big
thing.
connection to like
Yeah.
the light. You know what I mean?
There's a big thing going on also with the fact of we could look at every single faction and connect it to a mental illness.
Yeah.
that is.
I
mean,
man.
If you really
Yeah.
want to look at it, you can look at Unversed's anger issues.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at Dream Eaters as panic sleeping, like
Insomnia.
insomnia and different sleep problems. You can look
Sleep
at
whatnot.
the nobodies
Yeah.
as depression because they're empty on the inside,
But at the same time, you could
and
say...
then you have darkness, who's basically
Just, I mean-
everything else.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
They've
just,
got
like,
anxiety, they've got
but
their
evil,
anxiety,
but,
all these
but
other
like
things that
evil
go on.
outs. You know what I mean? Evil tendencies.
Yeah, destructive. I would say destructive tendencies.
Okay, destructive. There's
Yeah.
probably a better word. Yeah.
I'll also say it. Destructive.
Yeah. So
Destructive.
we can
Maybe
sit
not
there.
so evil.
We can sit there, and that's the
Not
thing. Where
always. Not always.
I think we can really make these connections and see that, and that brings up an interesting point that I'm going to talk about when we get to me.
Okay.
Because of this. But so please go and explain why you're on the fence for the Heartless.
Well, so I gave them a reason for nobodies, but the reason I say on the fence with Heartless is because outside of just the plain enemies for Heartless that are just really just pawns, essentially. You have Maleficent, and who controls all of it. Technically, if you go it by KH1, you have all the villains in each of the Disney worlds. You have Jafar, you have Oogie Boogie, you have Ursula.
Who are technically not Heartless,
They're not.
but they are in that faction.
They're
Yeah.
more or less in that faction. You see all of them, as well as Pete, who appears in KH2 and
It's a
onward.
big one. Yeah.
I'm
Practically a cult at that point.
yeah.
He's in almost every single game except for KH1.
Right.
It's more of a fascination with the Heartless than is, I would say, a side with them. Just to see outside of those with evil intent, what really goes on outside of that.
Honest, I'd be careful. Personally, I'd be careful saying evil intent, only because it's dark intent.
It's dark.
And that's the thing. It's a range of emotions
Yes.
with the darkness. Anything that can be perceived as a negative emotion can trigger the darkness to hunt you down, which is why they're trying to break Sora.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried throughout every game to break him
Mm-hmm.
and take something away so that way he snaps and gets closer. And young Xehanort and Xemnas made that abundantly clear in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
They straight up said, we want you to break so we can basically have your heart.
And another example that I have in my mind, outside of those with evil intent, that would be in Heartless, would be Riku in KH1, as well as Sora when he became a Shadow.
Yes.
Those, outside of maybe something else and probably Dream Drop, those are the only instances of those with
So, the only instances of Heartless that have had
good intent.
basically... Well, good intent is Sora as Heartless. That is the only one.
Yeah.
Having a consciousness
Yeah.
would be Ansem Seeker of Darkness. Technically, Riku in Kingdom Hearts 1 wasn't a Heartless. He was just absorbed by the darkness and being manipulated by Ansem.
Yeah.
So he's like a hybrid.
He's
in
a
that
50-50.
And then you have Replica Riku,
Mm-hmm.
who I would say is basically a Heartless. You have Sora, who has a consciousness. And that's really it.
Yeah.
You only have like 3 or 4 that have that type of consciousness to them.
Mm-hmm.
Now it comes down to, I'll bring it back. We were talking about the word evil as far as
Evil intent.
evil against
Negative. And destructive, yeah.
Now those are two. They are two very different words,
Well,
and
I would also beg to almost say that you got to be careful with that because sadness is also considered one of the negative
sadness
emotions.
is also true,
and it's not
Yes.
really it's not destructive or evil, but it's negative.
Yeah.
True,
And that's the big thing, like
through
the unversed.
through sadness, I would actually, as far as Heartless go, you are correct in saying that Heartless are more destructive, and this is an important term rather than evil.
Yeah.
I used it, Senna used it, and honestly, it is true to say that they are more destructive than anything.
Oh yeah, they are.
Because, and I'm gonna say something. Hopefully, it doesn't get.
Get
too
ready
much
to
away.
yell at them, okay?
Doesn't get. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, have you guys seen Ruby? at
Yes,
all?
I have.
You have seen Ruby.
He has
have
not.
you caught up with it?
I have not caught up with it.
Okay. Well,
You can spoil
this
if you need
isn't
to.
this isn't much of a spoiler at all, and
Okay,
even
we'll be
for the
fine.
viewers, it's not much of a spoiler. They do
Sorry,
go
guys.
into it's fine. It's fine. They do go into much or more of a creation versus destruction kind
Okay,
of balance.
that makes sense.
And that's all really what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not giving anything away.
Well, and it's creation versus destruction, light versus dark. It's the end all time,
Correct.
plot device to
and
everything.
you were talking about differences between those,
Yeah.
and if there was an imbalance, it would not be good.
Yeah.
And
Although it works out really well if darkness has an imbalance because then everything's just enveloped in it. But if everything's
Correct.
enveloped in light, then there can be no other emotions.
right, and goodness, I if you haven't thought about that, it'll blow your mind if you haven't. But I feel like at least us at this table have gone through that one time or another.
Oh, many many sleepless nights. You think my depression keeps me up? You should hear my brain on Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts.
man. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys haven't opened your mind really to this story and what it really means, it's a bit more deep than you think, and,
All right.
and it really does. And I swear, like when it comes to this Heartless, they have their place, and it really tells you why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yes, they do. I'm not trying to cut it short. We've got about
I don't know.
20 minutes left.
You're good, bud.
I want to get
what
my
else you
answer
got?
in and throw it in there real quick to the
Yeah,
ballpark, and then we can wrap up.
All right, faction,
so-
kill.
Bringing it up, if we go by how my life kind of was, how I was growing up, because I know that's how you kind of attacked it more, Sando.
Yeah, I know I did. I
I would
thinking about that.
I would be on the fence between nobodies and unversed.
Ooh.
So nobody's for the same reason everybody's talked about. They have a consciousness.
Right,
They have
they
something
do.
to them. They have a uniqueness, while still hitting on like that mental
We relate
illness
to them.
aspect.
We relate to
Yeah, they're
memories.
relatable. They ache for things that we
Absolutely.
ache for. The unversed because of the anger.
Okay.
I was a very angry person. I still have my moments. I think anybody with anger issues
Makes a lot
know
of sense for me as well.
that like it's
Does.
really hard to get fully through it.
Yeah.
You're never done. You're always growing. There's always going to be one thing that's really stupid that triggers you. Mine is a Riku fighting Chain of Memories.
Or when controller almost hit me while you were playing a game.
Okay, that was my first speed run. I didn't throw it at him. It bounced off the ground and anyway.
Or just my job. It's fine.
Yeah.
I get it.
So there's those aspects. There's those different triggers. There's those. Everybody still has those, and if you've dealt with anger issues, you understand that. Well, Vanitas is literally the embodiment of every negative emotion. He just is. He's all darkness. You know? It's surprising because, here's the thing. Darkness can't exist without light. That's true in our world. If there's no light, then it's darkness. That's how physics works, you know? And if you look at that, it's the same in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Darkness can exist without light, which is why they try to fight and destroy it and consume it, because they can let the negativity consume. But there's always light fighting back, because now if there's too much light, it can't happen. It's just an impossibility, because there's always going to be anybody that has light in their heart is going to still have bad days.
Right. And as you said, as that exists in physics, it also exists emotionally.
Exactly.
Like 100% emotionally.
Like, I've never met somebody who is always happy. I've met people who are
no,
close,
goodness.
but I've always found somebody they've had an off day.
Oh yeah.
Negative people, if they're very negative and they're not trying to be positive, because I've had these phases in my life, you will never let me see the light. I will consume any little bit of light you have, and I will turn it around and make it dark. It's a very real thing in our life. It's a very real thing in the Kingdom Hearts universe as well, and I think that speaks very loudly to the complexity
100%.
of the story.
100% agree.
Yep.
And so I think that being said, you see Vanitas, and I relate to him so well. You know, part of it, he has to think, yeah, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I have all this overwhelming power from the darkness, but he was solely created to be a tool. That's it. His existence is to be the tool that helps to create and help forge the Keyblade, which is the only blade that can unlock Kingdom Hearts. And it's the only blade that can unlock the power of Kingdom Hearts. And who's he getting that power for? Xehanort. He's not getting it for himself. His motivations are artificial. They've been given to him. Why do you think he can make so many powerful unversed? He's got daddy issues. Like, he has daddy issues to the extreme. I mean, and that's going with Xehanort being his dad, you know, in that aspect. So, it's one of those things of...
I don't think I would get that image out of my head now.
Good. Because don't forget,
dang.
he's also been Norded. Yeah. By the way, Norded is the term that we use for somebody who has had their heart taken over by Xehanort. Xehanort uses people as...
So many, though.
He uses... There's 13. He uses those people as Horcruxes, if you're a Harry Potter fan.
Oh, my goodness, you are speaking my second language.
You're welcome now. Now you understand what Xehanort's doing. He's basically making 13 Horcruxes.
Fantastic.
Then his body has that power, and then he can rejoin them all together to become
Oh.
super powerful and immortal.
Sorry.
At least I
just
think
want-
immortal, it's the way that it seems. He has access to time magic. The only other person that we've seen have access to time magic is Aqua, continuity-wise, but I also believe that Yensid, as well as Ericus, had access to time magic.
Yeah, outside of Kingdom Hearts talk, I just went full nerd on that
I know.
reference.
So you understand it, though, and it makes
Full
sense.
nerd, yeah.
And most people understand
that's
Harry
perfect.
Potter. Like, I will say that there's a
Oh my
lot of
goodness,
people that
man.
understand Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
But that's basically what Xehanort's doing, and you know, if you were basically think about how mad Beatrix was, just as a human being, she seemed psychotic and happy. So does Vanitas.
Yeah.
Vanitas, you know, he's happy causing others pain
I go
because
with
it helps make the pain inside less.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what
Wow.
that's what beings without light in them do. They thrive on chaos. They thrive on making others feel bad because they feel bad.
Yes.
Now, why we as humans more than likely try to feel guilty when we do something angry and it hurts other people is because we have the balance. You know, we have light and we have
that
dark
hits
in us.
so much. I'm not going to go into it, but that hits so much.
It's
home with
it's
me.
Yeah.
Not me personally, but
no, but
general.
you can
Not-
understand.
I definitely understand
And so
that. I
that's
absolutely
where
understand that.
that's where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Part of me, there have been lots of times growing up, and I use the song. I have 2 songs right now. I'm still looking for a third. So if there's any suggestions, Monster by Skillet and Monster by
Mumford
Imagine-
and Son.
Monster, huh?
was it Mumford and
Magic
Sons?
Dragons or Mumford? Is it Magic Dragons or?
It was either Imagine Dragons or Mumford and Sons. One of the two.
I
Yes.
think it might be.
Anyway,
Mumford.
Yeah, it's
I-
okay.
I think it's Mumford, but no, I think
Yeah,
it does not matter.
You can
We
correct
can
us.
look it up. Somebody can correct us. But those 2 songs are how I very much. It's by Mumford and Sons.
Channels his inner
So
monster.
it's how Monster was for me. Like when I started off as a kid, it was very much Skillet. Very much through high school, it was very Skillet.
Yeah.
As I grew up, it very much became more like Mumford and Sons, where it's like I know it's there, I can kind of keep it at bay, but it's still there and it has its
Correct.
moments. I'm now currently looking for the song where I've defeated my monster, but it has to still be called Monster.
All right.
It doesn't work as a triad of songs for my life. But that's the one that's for me, like, and so that's where I really connect with Vanitas.
So you songwriters out there,
Songwriters, I'm looking to you.
I'm looking at you, kid.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, okay? But that's where I'll go. And I would love to sit down and maybe we'll get another one of these done before we leave. But I'd love to sit
That'd be
down and
nice.
talk about connections between mental illness and
that would
and the
that
Kingdom
would
Hearts
absolutely
enemies.
be nice.
Because that would be so cool to sit down and talk about. And also, if you guys have any ideas of stuff you'd like us to, like Sando and I, to theory craft, or talk about, let us know in the comments and stuff down below. I hope you guys enjoyed us playing through the Kingdom Hearts above, not above us because there's no camera or anything, but we'll be having random gameplay of the game going on. We might switch it up. We'll probably be Kingdom Hearts 2, but we'll probably switch it up a little.
Hopefully, we won't take 20 minutes to do it out of bounds.
You
glitch.
know,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
20 minutes to do an out of bounds glitch for both of us was pretty fun, but it was 20 minutes.
Hey,
so.
we got it to work.
Right.
We got it to work. It was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed all that. We're running this one a little slow. These episodes will always be somewhere between an hour and a half. I cut us out a little bit. Yes.
Also, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for
appreciate
being
it so
here.
much. Like,
We appreciate it as well, but we also love you.
no,
Very,
I love you too.
very unconditionally. There's
I'm
like
eating
2
food right now, so
conditions.
no singing.
Only a few.
No,
I
only
know,
like
I-
2 conditions,
I
you
know.
know.
That's fine. As long as you can count it on one hand,
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
As long as you don't murder anybody, we're doing good.
Yeah, no.
Okay, sweet.
No promises.
Sando has to use 2 hands to count to 2, by the way.
Well,
There we go.
At least they want the middle
It's always
fingers.
like that. I want to have it set up one day where we both have cameras on us and we're looking back and forth. Just because what he did was he has 1 finger on each hand and he hit them together and then one of them became 2. So that was good.
You
Anyway,
guys, yeah, thank you very much
thank
for
you as
having me
well.
on tonight. Yeah,
I hope you
absolutely.
guys enjoyed it. Let us know down below what faction would you pick and why. You know, does it hit home for you? You don't have to go into detail if you don't want to, but let us know.
We'd love to hear it.
We'd love to hear it. We'd love to
I'd
look at it.
read anything you guys have to say.
And we're going to try to get these out at least weekly.
Hopefully.
Hopefully weekly, which is why we're doing a little bit more recording. Like this is a day
And
after, so.
I know you guys are all excited about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh god,
We are.
it's coming. It's a month.
shaking.
It's a month
We
from
are
right
shaking.
now.
It is
a month from right
is
now.
it the 29th?
It's the 29th.
It is
of
the
December.
29th, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
it is a month from when we're recording this.
Very
That all
excited.
being said, we'll do some sign-offs. If you want to check out Gnar, please go over to twitch.tv /Narchitect.
And it
I will
is-
make sure that his link is somewhere below because if spelling is not your strong suit.
Correct, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I believe in you.
It is GNARCHI
Don't look to me for help.
ECT.
All right,
Yeah, yeah.
there will be a link below. Please
I
check
did
him out.
it!
Give him a follow. love him because he's beautiful and we love him.
And
And we're
I'm
trying to get him to stream more, so
That's also a thing.
that's also a thing.
But I will be.
If you want to, also check out Sando at Sando152 on Twitter.
I post memes.
Or
I post
Sando.
anime. That's like all you're
Yeah.
gonna get from me.
Or Sando15, basically anywhere else.
If you see a picture in the profile and it's Nicolas Cage, it's probably
It's
me.
probably him. If it's Nicolas Cage related, it's probably him. Now, if you want to find me, I'm the one that's a little confusing because you can still find Gnar at his. Oh no, your Twitter is different than that.
It is. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You guys can find his Twitter if you find his
I don't
Twitch
use
channel.
my Twitter too often. Sorry about it.
Now, if you're looking for me, if you want to interact with me on Twitter, Mind of Kill, all one phrase. Look me up there on Twitter, or if you guys want to come out to a live stream and talk Kingdom Hearts with us while we're playing any other game, I'm completely okay with that. I will stop all other chat to do so. And that will be again at mixer.com/killohms, KILOHMS.
Yes.
But that all being said, I hope you guys have a great day or night. Stay awesome and do great things. We'll see you guys next time. Adios.
See ya.
Later.